In December 2024, Tina Lewis, a Canadian ultrarunner, was arrested for the possession of a satellite phone, a Garmin inReach, which is illegal in India. When she was arrested, she was asked not to contact Canadian embassy. She was forced to hire a police-recommended lawyer. Her passport was seized. To get her passport back, she had to pay thousands of dollars, while her court fine was not more than $15. She wasn't the only one who was arrested for the possession of satellite device. In 2022, Fergus MacLeod was on a hiking trip to the Valley of Flower, a beautiful landscape of flowers situated at an altitude of 3,600 meters. When he was staying at his hotel room, a few policemen approached him and arrested him for the possession of satellite phone. He had to spend about a week in a district jail. When I say district jail, he was not sentenced to prison by the judge. In fact, he was waiting in the judicial custody for his turn in the courtroom. So when he appeared in the courtroom, he was asked to pay 1,000 rupees of fine, which is equivalent to $15. That seems to be standard for the crime of carrying the illegal satellite device in India. Another interesting case belongs to the Heather Mackins, a Scottish hiker who was arrested at New Delhi airport. She took it to the social media where she expressed her disappointment toward the situation. In her social media post, she mentioned that a day before her arrest, another person was arrested for the same reason, but the cop decided not to charge him, but she was not lucky. So it totally depends upon cop whether you will be charged or not. In many cases, tourists or hikers just pay some amount of money to the cop and they will let you go. But if you are a social media personality or very well known person in the media, they might not accept any money. It might be risky for them. Instead, they will decide to charge you according to the local laws. Heather Mackins didn't spend much time in the custody. In fact, she was traveling within India waiting for her trial in New Delhi. At the end, she had to pay a fine of £500. I'm not sure if that includes the lawyer fee, but her lawyer told her that a fine could go as high as £55,000 or she could have spent time in prison for 3 years. Well, that is not going to happen. £55,000 for carrying the satellite device in India. In most of the cases, they ask you to pay about $15 to $20 and leave you with a warning. Unless you are a national security threat, you will not spend time in prison. But the real pain is going through the process of getting the justice in India. You may have to go through the different cop and lawyer and they may ask you to come again another week, maybe another month. It will totally destroy your trip. And that's why many people prefer to bribe the cop or want to pay a lot of money to the lawyer so they can get away with the situation. Because you are in a country where you do not understand the local laws and most of the court proceedings happen in the local language. The case of Tina Lewis is very interesting because she was asked not to contact Canadian embassy. When you are in foreign nation where you do not understand the law, do not understand the local language, first thing you want to do when you are in trouble is to contact your embassy. This is very common practice in India where lawyers target the people who do not have access to a genuine lawyer or do not have knowledge about the local laws, and they are ready to pay any amount of money to get out of that situation. They will charge a huge amount of money even for the simple cases where you could get away with a small fine. This could be the one of the reasons why Tina Lewis ended up paying thousands of dollars to get her passport back, despite her court fine was only about $15. Things could have been different if she was in touch with Canadian embassy. The law itself does not punish as bad as to going through the process of getting justice in India, and it will destroy your trip to the Indian Himalaya. You have to understand what is illegal in India. Any device that is capable of sending messages through the satellite is in fact illegal in India. If you end up getting detained and arrested in India, you may choose not to hire a lawyer and represent yourself in the courtroom. However, most court proceeding happens in the local language and you may get no clue what's going on. Many court officials understand English, but they would have hard time understanding words spoken by the foreign nations. So it is better to get in contact with your embassy and get a genuine lawyer to represent yourself in the courtroom. The British government has released travel advisory for its people that satellite phone is illegal in India. The same British government who imposed this law in India 91 years ago. And after independence, Indian government didn't bother changing this law. Is this law going to change in future? Absolutely not. Mountaineering isn't big in India. Despite India controls the largest part of the Himalaya, India have no intention to promote mountain tourism in India. Unlike Nepal, who depends on mountain tourism for its revenue, India has other source of revenue, so they don't have to depend on mountain tourism for its economy. In the past, these satellite devices have been used by the foreign expedition who were exploring and climbing in the Indian Himalayas. They did not have many problems at that time. Only recently, more security personnel are getting aware of this law. That's why more people are getting detained recently for the possession of satellite device. Unfortunately, many lawyers and cops are making money out of the tourists who are unaware of this law. Except the military expedition, local tour operators do not have the satellite phone during their expedition in the Indian Himalayas. I know the story of three local mountaineers in India. They were climbing in Indian Himalayas without a satellite phone. Once they got in trouble, they were helpless. They were tired and exhausted. But one of them was able to descend back into the valley to get into the network zone and was able to call for help. If you want to explore and climb the Indian Himalayas, you would have to risk getting lost in the mountain or risk getting arrested at the airport. That's all for today. Thank you for watching.